Hello and welcome to Howard's Cave of Wonder. I'm Chris, aka Howard Blues, welcoming you to my cave. Although I'm not in my cave, and that's pretty obvious if you've watched this channel. This does not look like my cave. This probably looks like a hotel room, and it is. I'm currently on a work trip, and truthfully, I'm not a big TV guy, and so I tend to, when I travel like this, I tend to bring a project along. And I thought I would share and talk about how I hobby at on a trip like this, and what kind of tools and such I tend to bring to the party, do a little hobby, and we'll also talk about just some other general hobby stuff. If you're new to the channel, welcome. This show is very much my hobby vlog. I share kind of my takes on the hobby, board games, painting, all of those sorts of things. It's kind of my little way to kind of share and keep myself motivated in everything that we do. So, hobbying on the road. I'm on a work trip, and I don't really want to bring a bunch of luggage. I'm traveling with coworkers. I wanted to make sure I had things that would allow me to hobby and get some things done in the evening instead of sitting here watching TV or anything like that. And so part of that is selecting the best project to do. So what am I doing tonight as I sit here and chat with you? Well, I have some Warhammer Underworlds kits to build. And if you're wondering why there's a glare, it's super shiny. It's still in the wrap, and it's not just this one. I also brought this big bad boy as well. We'll see how far I get. Usually when I travel for work and I'm going to do a hobby project, I try and choose something that doesn't require a lot of space. You know, a set of models like this, not too much. This easily fits in my backpack, which is where I pack everything else that I use. And the nice thing about Warhammer Underworlds and that is I don't need a lot of tools for it. So I have some very basic things here. I have just a simple snips, a rolling runaway X-Acto knife, a couple of just sanding strips to sand any mold lines or anything like that. I brought this tongs. I don't know why. I think it just happened to be sitting on my desk when I was scooping everything else up. So this little, tweezers, I won't use that. I'm actually using it. I have the camera here to show kind of the desktop view, and it's kind of marking like what is out of frame. Hey, it's still there. Perfect. So I'm kind of using that to mark what is out of frame. Anyway, the last thing I need is some super glue and such. So really some simple things. So let's move over here. Now I chose, and I spent way too long trying to figure out what I wanted to bring as a project on this particular trip. I settled on the Warhammer Underworlds stuff because these models are push fit, so they don't require glue. I tend to like to glue them to the base, or in the case of maybe a joint or connection that doesn't really fit real well, because I've had that happen. Especially because some of these, what I have found with Warhammer Underworlds, as I throw that, is a lot of times the connector pegs can be really, really stiff and hard to get in, and so I oftentimes like to sand that peg down, make it go in easier. If you do a little too much, which can happen, then I might need a little glue. So, what do I have for this evening? We're going to start with these guys. These are the Knives of the Crone. So, I believe they are part, if I am not mistaken, What faction are they? Oh, I'm gonna blank on it. Daughters of Cain? I think they're Daughters of Cain. I think. I'm not as up on all of my Age of Sigmar lore. I'm just being honest on that. So, here we have our sprue. And here's all of the game pieces. And one thing I do like about these kits, and what makes it easy, is it does come with an envelope. The only real problem is that I have to open the envelope to get to the instructions on how to construct these. My instructions. So, but yeah, all sorts of interesting things, some faction lore. One of the things that is interesting is you get all of these in all of the different languages. So it's always kind of interesting. Our instructions. We have... And yeah, it's just a simple, nice little one page to build all for. So we'll set that right there. All right, fun. I'm excited. So let's talk a little bit about Warhammer Underworlds, because Warhammer Underworlds is, to me, an interesting game. Let me tell you why. After I find these pieces, I'm not gonna lie. A lot of times when it comes to tools and hobby tools, I've just kind of picked up cheap things, such as cheap clippers and such. But I will admit, I saw a YouTube video who introduced me to these Cobalt clippers. Oh, they are so nice. Well worth the price tag that I paid for them. I love them. They cut smoothly, like cutting through butter. So as I go to do some just sanding and cleaning up kind of my little snips, Warhammer Underworlds, I got into way back when it launched. However, I didn't buy the first set. When it first came out, it was a GW set, and while I will agree with anybody who wants to say it, the GW models are very good. I couldn't afford it. And at that point, I had no idea exactly just how good the game would be. And so I passed on it at first, and then it grew into this really kind of very popular game. And that's all fine and dandy. But the problem was that I didn't know is that GW was going to do it as seasons. And so eventually the original core box and the sets that came out for that just went out of print. Couldn't get them unless you really wanted to hunt and find them. And so it became very frustrating to me to have this game that's like, I would like to play. I'd like to collect some sets, because it's a skirmish game. It had decent reviews, and because it was a way to purchase some really cool GW models without really needing to have an army. Because having an army, that would have been something for a younger, kidless Howard. Probably a youngless, unmarried Howard, too, if I'm being honest. When you have all that disposable income. So, needless to say, like, that was a big frustration for me with the game, was that I was not going to be able to collect everything. And if I wasn't going to be able to collect everything, it's like, well, maybe this isn't the game for me. But it was one of those things that kept popping up, and I kept getting interested in, and eventually I ended up purchasing a couple of warbands for it. But the big selling point, and I was just thinking like I'd use them for models, just for fun. The big selling point, the thing that got me going, woohoo, was when they did Emberguard. The Emberguard set basically allowed me to pick up things. It was a kind of like a restart, and they started reissuing some of the first sets, the old sets, the out-of-print sets, with new updated rules. Okay, this is the fun part, trying to figure out how these joints go together and not break the model. I will say on for this particular faction, it's all this dark plastic, and it's really hard to kind of figure out where things go. A little press. One thing I will say, I do like these models. They come out really nice. They're easy to put together. But they do end up with fairly strong gap lines, and hopefully on that camera you can see it a little bit better. Like along the cloak here, there's a pretty strong gap. It'll be okay. Little green stuff will fix that. Okay, piece 3. Now, one thing I will say about the game, I haven't had a chance to play it yet. Even though I picked up Emberguard, and I've been slowly kind of assembling some of the different factions and teams. I haven't had a chance to play it because this is a kind of a skirmish tactical game, and it's not really the game my wife would like to play. And she's my main game group as of right now. So I don't really have anybody to play. One day, my son will be old enough, and I'm sure me and him will have many terrific battles. But for right now, I don't really have anybody to. So I'm just kind of prepping in advance, getting them ready. But with any game, I tend to study the rules and really want to know, is this something that I think will work well for when I do game with people? But also, is it something I'm going to enjoy? It's the same philosophy I tend to have with kind of Kickstarters. You kind of have to make sure that you look at everything and really kind of figure out if you want it. Because I think sometimes you can get in on something because of the hype, and really what you're looking at is maybe not the best thing out there or a great game. For instance, I'll admit to this one, and this was early in my career. I went fairly all in on Besieged by Simon. Partially this was because it came right after Zombicide Black Plague. And in my mind, I was like, haha, this is going to be amazing. Oh my gosh, this is the same, like, spear. Okay, I'm figuring this out. I figured it'd be amazing, but I also was really suckered in by, like, if you purchase this, yeah, pig's gonna work. If you purchase this, you can use these characters in Besieged, or not in Besieged, into Massive Darkness. Into Zombicide. There, said the right one this time. So that was kind of one of the big driving forces for myself, was that, oh, this is something I can kind of get into and use. And then I got it, and I've played the game several times, Besieged, and it's okay. It's tower defense, which should make it good, but the problem is that even though it's cooperative, it's really easy to screw yourselves in it. You have to make choices, and it's like a worker placement in that sense. You move your guy here, it does this, but if you do that, then I can't do it because you're in that space. And so sometimes you have to make that greedy decision, like, oh, I want to do this and this. The only way I'm going to do that is if I do this, but that might mean that I, screw somebody else out of doing that same action who maybe needs it more. And so that is kind of where that game fell apart. Like, it just, I played with my nephew once, great kid that he is, and I had that problem where he kept going to the same things, and I'm like, you need to go do this, we need to do this. So it was not a great game in that sense, but I fell for it because I hadn't done my research and my due diligence. So I try to be a lot more diligent these days when I do things like that. Almost got the first one done. Just got to do this kind of winged cowl that goes on the back. So anyway, Warhammer Underworlds, if you have played it and have thoughts, hey, share them in the comments. I'd love to know what other people think of the game. Pointy bits. Okay. So I mentioned Kickstarters, and I've been looking at a whole slew of them. There just seems to be a bunch that came out recently, and some of them are very interesting. I didn't make any review videos, just it's been a busy couple of weeks for myself. And so I just have not had time to really make videos. I mean, part of the reason I'm making a video in a hotel room right now is I just have not had time to make one in my usual setup. But there's been some interesting ones that I looked at. There was one by the company Allplay for a reprint of the game Container. And that looked really good. And I'm very interested in that because it hit some some things. I would love some more kind of Euro-esque style games. I like that it's kind of got economy and some of that, and it seems like an interesting game. The thing I didn't like about that Kickstarter, and it's not a whole negative, it came in a 3-game pack. So they're running that along with Grunts and Triangulation. I've looked at them. Triangulation looks like a really fun party game. It's a word game where you have 2 teams and you get to write, one person's the clue giver, and they write 3 clues. But before they give those clues to their team, the other team gets to look at 2 and try and get. So you're trying to come up with clues that point you in the right direction, but don't give it all away. And it looks like it could be a lot of fun. So I'm excited about that. Sorry, the TV in the room keeps clicking. It's weird. So I like Triangulation. Container looked interesting. Grunts, I am not going to lie, was probably the part of that, and you're noticing I'm getting out the glue on this spear. Oh my gosh, some very runny glue. Well, that is ultra liquid. That explains so much. I didn't look to see what type of glue I had. This is the danger of trying to make a video. I don't think I got any on the table. Luckily, I don't think I got any on the sprue. Trying to make a video, do a project, and be engaging is that I have just glued my fingers together. There's those, and a model to myself. Ooh. Hopefully, if you're hobbying along with this video, you're doing better than me. Learn from my mistakes. Don't be like Howard in this case. Hobby. Just pay better attention to what you're doing. Oh, that's gonna drive me nuts. Ultrafine glue. It's ultrafine. It's glue. And it's very sticky. Where was I? It's anyway, the fact that they did it as kind of 3 Kickstarters. 2 of the games look good. The third one doesn't. And so I probably will pass on that. Fun. The leg just snapped. That's what I say when you have to sand the pegs sometimes, because yeah, you can see it's just trying to get it in there, and it just snapped. So let's see if we can get it to line up. Okay, I think I got it. When you do have to make a repair on something like this, here's my piece of advice. Not that I was meaning to give this piece of it. Do a dry fit. Make sure you kind of have the idea of where it goes, so that you're not putting the glue on and then debating. Also, make sure you know that it's ultra liquid, and that's going to run faster than Speedy Gonzalez out of the bottle. And then that way you can fix it back. So I'm gonna hold this for a bit. Besides the whole Howard Blues nickname, I also carry the nickname of the living embodiment of Charlie Brown. This is why. I thought I was going to have just a nice, quiet evening assembling some Warhammer Underworlds, talking to you. And look what happened. In like 2 minutes time, I broke a model and then proceeded, glued my fingers together, then broke a model. I'm going to set that aside. I do have a little bit of a glue ring and such around that. When that dries, I will try either to sand that off, or the other option is I might leave it and just kind of try and paint it like a ring or as a feature on the model. We'll see. I do have to clean up kind of the back side of this where now I have glue covering the model a little bit. I don't have a fingerprint there. And I'll let this sit for a little bit, and then I'm going to try to put it on the base. Anyway, so back to where I was trying to be and trying to talk, and I brought like basically 5 kits thinking it'll be all done in an hour. Sucking this is pretty bad. What am I doing? It's already been 26 minutes. Oh, good times. Let me just take a break. Anyway, so triangulation grunts container. I might pick up triangulation and container. I'm gonna skip grunts. I looked at it, it just didn't scratch an itch. What else has there been? Boss Monster 2 came out. I didn't back that one. As much as I was really excited for the first Boss Master, and I just got my hands on like the complete set of that. I just got my hands on the complete set of that, and so it's really hard to like, hey, I've just gotten this. I haven't even put it all away, and here comes another one. I'm just gonna stick with this. Calypso is another game that I've been looking at. It's kind of cool. It reminds me of the video game Raft, which was kind of an interesting one. You start on kind of a little 4x4, like a pallet raft, and you go fishing, you pick up supplies, and you build and kind of build a whole city. The game looks really kind of cool. Like you get to do some of that, kind of that survival, that cooperative side. Looks really cool. You can play it cooperative, you can play it solo, you can play it competitive. I don't know that it'll ever hit my table as competitive, but it looked really interesting. And so that one I'm really debating and really thinking on. What else? Dinosaur Island was back in a master set. Dinosaur Island, I get that it's like Jurassic Park the board game, and there's a part of me that's really interested in that. But I just, I don't know. I've looked at that one before, and I just don't know. I'm very torn on that one. And then there's Tenpenny Amusement, which is an amusement park builder that's coming up. It's got some expansions and such. You may see a video from me on that Kickstarter. I haven't really looked at a whole lot at it. I've looked at the game and some reviews on the game and that, and it looks like it could be good. It looks like it could be fun. I don't know about the replayability. I'm kind of curious what the expansions look like, what that adds and changes to the game, and kind of what that comes out to. So that's some of the just Kickstarter-y things that I've been looking at. There's probably some others. Don't Starve was another one. Interesting. Little, again, seemed very much like a survival. It's a roguelite, not roguelite. I always say that one wrong. And that one looked interesting, and I was trying to get a sense of what that game is and how it plays, and I need to go in and spend some more time looking at the page on that one. It looks interesting. I'll give it that. I just want to know more. I know there's a video game out there that it's based on, and I could probably look at that, but I don't know. Video game to board game translations are not always great. I really liked Stardew Valley when they did the board game version of that. Excellent. Even, this is an old one, and we can talk about this at some point. Maybe sometime I'll do a deep dive into the implosion that was Soda Pop Miniatures and their game Super Dungeon Explorer, which was like Gauntlet, the old Gauntlet Legends video game in a board game form, and it was great. And it did like 3 runs on Kickstarter, and the last run I backed really heavily because I really liked the game and I wanted more content to play with it, and then they failed to fulfill. I'll dive maybe into that at some point. I'm gonna cut some more pieces and then we'll chat some more. So as I said in the intro, as I once again do some more sanding, I figured I'm safe to sand and talk at the same time. I'm on a work trip, and I bring that up again because one of the things I always like to talk about is what I've been up to hobby-wise. And I haven't been up to a lot. Kind of by choice, kind of not by choice. My work does a walking challenge every year in September, and I participated this year, and that kept me busy most evenings as I tried to compete in that and hit all the different goals and such associated with it. So I haven't been able to do a lot of hobby, but one of the cool things that I have found is that when you develop hobby skills, like some of this stuff, the times that you can find to use it for things that you never thought you'd ever use it for. So, for instance, with my work with the Historical Society, we do a lot of programming that we offer, and part of that is we offer we have an instructional collection full of items that people are allowed to touch and try and all of that. And the problem with anything that's a hands-on element like that is it's going to break eventually. Stuff wears out. That's just how it goes. If you notice, I'm sanding the pegs on this one so I don't repeat the incident of the last one. Anyway, so one of my coworkers had some pieces out. It was a mason jug, a ceramic mug, and a couple of ceramic pipes. That's for a fur trading activity that we do. And they were all broken. And I just happened to ask them, like, hey, you plan on fixing those? And they said, well, yeah, we're just going to take and glue them together. And I said, can I do it? Like, what? Like, yeah, I've done some ceramics in the past, repair. I said I could do it. And so I got to do it, and I'll put up some pictures here showing kind of the before and the after. It was a lot of fun to get to try and put these pieces together, and then I used some resin varnish to take it, kind of cover the cracks a little bit, but also there was a couple of spots where we had chips that just we didn't have all the pieces for. And because we didn't have all the pieces for it, you kind of left these things and they could be kind of sharp, it's a broken glass ceramic. So with those, I took and actually applied some of this resin varnish as a way to kind of just help out in the holding it all together. Okay, let's see if I can put this together. I'm missing piece 6. That's why this looks a little weird. I have so historically I don't take lunch, and I often use my lunch break to hobby at work. It's a great stress reliever, I find, at work, and helps me keep up. And usually with these little underground Warhammer Underworlds kits, I find that like I can usually assemble a whole war band during the course of a lunch break. I'm going a lot slower tonight. I'm also going to add, and oh great, now this is Howard making excuses. I also don't have a lot of light. I try turning on more light like I would normally have, like in my office or at home, and it's so stinking bright that it would wash me out. In fact, I actually had to take and put a shirt over the lamp that's on this desk to kind of keep it from being blurred, because if I go like this, yeah. So that's why if it seems a little darker, that's why it's to keep the white balance a little bit more in check. Now that I've messed with it. The joys of trying to hobby on the road. So, anyway, I'm going a bit slower, but having fun with this. And it's fun getting to chat with all of you. How are you doing? What hobby projects are you working on? Let me know. Have you ever hobbied at work? Have you ever hobbied on a work trip? Again, feel free, share a comment. I always like kind of hearing your guys' experience with some of this stuff too. I really do like these Warhammer Underworlds, but sometimes they are just a bit on the interesting side. How on earth is this supposed to go? So this piece hooks in like that. This piece hooks in like that, causing all sorts of shenanigans, as I think those are supposed to line up. The engineering that goes into these things is amazing to me, because how they just assemble these things where they're supposed to be assembled. So I actually pushed the crossbow together, and now I'm sliding the body up and in. That was the only way I could figure out how I could do this without becoming like Goro from Mortal Kombat and growing another set of arms. Even then, it's not really wanting to stay. Holy buckets. Okay, let's try this again. Don't make me get the glue out, because I don't really want to glue my fingers to yet another model. Okay, so I'm struggling with this one a lot. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to come in like I've done with the others, sand down that peg, because I think my peg might be a part of the issue. Okay, let's see if that helps. I have to admit, this is probably like the hardest of these push fit models I have ever done. I've never struggled this hard to get it to fit in. I'm gonna think on that one. Way too many issues with it. And the thing is, I shouldn't. It should be a fairly easy one to do. So I'm gonna go back to this first model that I broke. Let's sand the feet pegs. I do wish I had a little bit heavier grit on my sanding stick, but it is what it is. So if you didn't catch, I went to put this foot in, and it once again snapped. So let's see if we can't fix it again. Okay. I'm going to be really interested if you've assembled this kit. You know, what was your experience with it? Was this an easy kit to assemble, or did you have as many problems as I seem to be having this evening? We'll let that dry, and then we'll do that. And usually with these, what I've been trying to show is I usually kind of come in and I just sprinkle a little super glue kind of on the pegs just to hopefully lock it in. I'm gonna. I'll come back to this one. Oh, let's do. Let's do one more kit. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to do. It's been 54 minutes. It's 9:15. I should probably consider going to bed because we have to get up early and travel. So, I did not get very far in this. I had more problems. I don't know what it is with this Knives of the Crone kit, but this has been one of the hardest and most frustrating kits I have so far assembled, and I don't know what to think about that. Let me know again what your thoughts are. If you made it through all of this video, this suffering, this misery, hopefully I made you laugh, because then somebody got some enjoyment and entertainment out of this. Thank you. If you feel the need to pity me with your likes and your subscribes, I'll take that as well. Otherwise, thanks for tuning in and making this something. Sometimes hobby fails. It's just how it goes. And hopefully I'll do better next time. So, with that, please come back. Please give another video a try. Maybe I'll do better that time. Anyway, thank you again for your time, your patience, and hey, taking a chance on this little tiny channel that I have. With that, we will see you all back. I can't say down here in the cave, because I'm not. Hopefully, we'll see you back in the cave again next time. Night, everybody. Hey, everyone. I know I've already wrapped the show and it kind of said, well, I failed. That's how it goes. But no more than like 6 minutes or so afterwards, I got it. Second figure done. I'd probably continue working tonight, but also ran out of glue. Hope you're having a better night than I am. Anyway, as I said earlier, we'll catch you all down here in the cave again next time. Bye, everybody.